In this video I'm going to give you some quick Squad Conquest tips, and in upcoming videos I will go more in depth, so let's go right ahead. Tip number 1. Trap your enemies. Trap the enemies inside the cap point by standing outside and letting them enter the area like a fish cage. Wait a couple of seconds so they feel secure and then start shooting or launch a grenade at them. Dynamite is fine too. From their point of view, when you stand in the middle of the cap point, you will be having to cover all of your flanks at the same time, which is very difficult of course. But when you stand on the outside, you can easily have control and see when the enemy enters the area. That's why it's so much easier to have control if you're on the outside, and the exact opposite on the inside. Tip number 2. Choose the right class. I recommend to use a squad with medic and assaults. In Squad Conquest you need to be quick and flexible because of the small scale of the maps. Not only are the weapons of the classes effective in close to medium combat, but their perks are useful as well for this game mode. Support is alright, especially if you defend a cap point or lure them into a trap. Playing as a recon is unfortunately pretty useless since the map areas are so small. Tip number 3. Sneak. You need to be creative and find different ways to sneak into the enemy cap points. Using the grass and vegetation in Aras, for example, can be very useful. By just being 1 or 2 persons sneaking around and capturing flags, you can have a great impact on the outcome of the game, since you will interrupt the enemy's attempt to capture other points, and they will have to go back and forth between the points and not getting anything done really. Tip number 4. Smokes. Smokes in Battlefield are simply too good not to use them. Smoking your way into an enemy cap point or use them as cover when you defend can be very effective. If you master smokes, you will be one step ahead of mastering the match. Tip number 5. Tanks. Use them to breach into an enemy cap point or defend yours. Choose a tank which is most effective against infantry. I do not advise to use armored cars since they get destroyed very easily. Instead, I advise to use a heavy tank to be offensive and support your teammates when they are capturing flags. Tip number 6. Be aware of downed teammates. When a teammate is down, you can see where they got downed and hence predict where the enemies are. So of course this is very useful in such tiny areas as there are in Squad Conquest. Tip number 7. Build fortifications. Build fortifications around the cap point that is closest to your base. It's unnecessary to build forts around the other cap points in my opinion, since you won't have much time and they will be used by both teams, unless one team is dominating the map. But if you have the time, you can build fortifications at your enemy cap point which is closest to their base. But you should only build fortifications that are facing their base. Then you will have defending walls towards the enemy while the back is open for your teammates to easily enter the area. That's it for this time. I advise you to like and subscribe if you want to see more. Have a great life!
Shut up.